give me a call Sunday if he's free. I haven't talked to him for a while.
Okay. He's on the call, but he's driving, so he can't interact so much. And Sensei,
if he's free,
we're ready to have you open your camera if you're ready to begin. Very good. Good evening, Sensei.
Hi. This angle okay? It'll have to do. Okay. NDE. Wow. Near-death experience. Okay. The Proof of Heaven book. Okay. That I'll refer to, I think, tonight. Eben, E-B-E-N, Alexander.com. Apparently, he's got a lot of material available. I watched it. Don't bark at me.
Sorry.
Anyway, if you're interested in following up on this, he mentions a lot of other books. He's really into it now after his experience. And he'll mention probably some sites where he's given lectures to different groups. And I watched one of them. It was pretty good, pretty good. He's an intelligent fellow, of course, so he lays things out pretty well. So if you're interested in the subject and you want to go into more detail, it'd be a good guy to check through. Okay, where are we? We had some good stories last week from the different people. Anybody else with an actual experience of a loved one crossing over?
Sensei, this is Gina.
Gina.
A few years ago, I had sepsis, which is pretty serious. And I was got to the point where they told my family I was dying, and that was it. And I was intubated. And a mutual friend of ours called you and I guess asked you, can we do anything? Or, you know, is she really going to die? And you said, you told her she's deciding right now. And what was going on with me, of course, I didn't know any of that because I was in a coma. But what I saw was I was hating this tube. I mean, it's not like the movies. It's horrendous to have that thing down your throat. And I just couldn't take it anymore, and I was fighting the sickness. And I just gave up. I just said, this is, goodbye. I cannot handle this. And on the right side, this whole kind of membrane wall appeared. And there was a rough cut opening in it about 4 feet wide. And I looked through and it was just clouds, dark clouds, and I could see for miles. And I was told, you can get rid of the tube and you can go in here and you'll just float. You'll be totally comfortable. You'll feel wonderful, and you'll just sail through these clouds. And they weren't raining, but they were stormy looking. It wasn't beautiful in white light and, no angels, nothing. Just
it was the doorway.
Yeah, into these dark clouds. But they said, you'll be fine, and you'll just sail forever, but you'll be alone. And when they said that, I just went, I choose the tube. And that's my story. And then when I came back, my friend told me what you had said, which made me believe that, that's as real to me as if it happened an hour ago. I can still see the whole thing. So I wasn't dead. I wasn't like that doctor in the book, but I wasn't.
It was a bit unusual.
So what about the deciding part? That's what I wanted to ask you, because you said she's deciding, and I definitely decided. So I didn't know you could decide anything.
Well, you were hanging in the middle, I guess, is why I said, I don't remember the details now, but that was my sense of checking you out there, that you were you hadn't decided yet. It was your call, and you called to go, I'm going back. I'll take the tube. Horrible as it is, I'll take that.
And I think it wasn't presented to me beautifully. I think it probably wasn't my time. You know, they weren't like people calling me and golden lights or anything. It was pretty beautiful.
Yeah. But if you had gone through, you'd eventually move along in that realm
I
and things
see.
would start to open up.
Oh,
It's not that you saw dark clouds and it's going to be dark clouds for a million years.
oh, that's what I thought. That's why I
Oh,
chose
Jesus.
two.
Come on, lady. Have you heard of this thing called dimensionality?
Well, that was a long time ago.
Okay.
It was a few years ago. I wasn't
Oh,
into
okay.
that. Thank you, Sensei.
But yeah, he mentioned that in his book, billowy clouds, some darkness, I think, at first. Yeah, then you'll learn how to utilize the dark, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. So anyway, you chose to stay on the earth plane. Okay. Anybody else experience your experience or a loved one you were tracking or anything like that?
This is Amy from Florida.
Yes.
I had one other experience, which was, I thought, pretty interesting. I was doing Aikido during those years and living in Fairfax. And I woke up one night and all of a sudden, I didn't know it was night. I thought it was day because there was light coming. Oops, I didn't want to be on camera. Sorry about that. I thought it was the day. And I walked into my living room in Fairfax, which had windows on one whole side that looked over the mountain. And as I walked there, there was this white light that was the brightest white light I have ever seen. And I started walking towards it. And what I sensed or heard or whatever was, you're not ready yet. So I went back into my bedroom and I went back into bed. I woke up sometime later and it was dark. So I thought that was interesting.
No, if the self, so let's say Amy has a fair degree, a good degree of a sense of self, and self was getting freer and saw that, oh, there's a brighter potential here, and for what reason? Not time for you to go through. You're not going to die and pass on through that through that light, but just a certain level of awareness where you can get the lay of the land, get some degree of an experience. Blah, blah, blah. So cool.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, that's what it was about. It was beginning to, in that period of my life, I was beginning to have different experiences of astral planes and different kinds of stuff. So this was just one more to show me that there was more than I consciously knew.
Yeah. Yeah. The Dr. Alexander goes through totally opposite from his belief as a doctor before his experience, of all the experiences he was having when his brain was basically totally shut off. Okay. So he said he had kind of like an amnesia, which aided him in moving along and he was shown a lot. They took him on a tour kind of thing. But he thought, because it was so total on that brain dead thing, that gave him a type of amnesia where the human system and any residue of the human system was obliterated, didn't exist. So he was able to move deep and be shown a lot, have a lot of interesting experiences. Where am I going with that? Anyway, his story is a bit different because most people, when they pass over, will be aware that, oh, not, I'm Nadeau and I'm dead. And oh, I'm going to check my, how's Katya doing and whatever. Oh, there's Uncle whoever. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you here. That there's a lot of that kind of stuff that he didn't experience. So he called it a type of amnesia from all of that. Dr. Alexander life was totally not there for him. So his case is a little bit unusual. But as he reads all the other stories of people that had an hour or whatever, 20 minutes on the other side or an hour on the other side before they were revived in their NDE experience, he can relate. It's nothing they say about those earlier stages that throws him off any. So although he didn't experience the normal type because of this totalness of amnesia, if you would, don't know if anything like that makes sense, but just he mentions it in his book. So if you're interested, you go read the book and whatever. Thank you, Amy. Okay. These things can be experienced through meditation, right? So Amy's case, if she settles and goes inner, finer, can have a light show there in a finer dimension. So it's not just you got to be in a dream or asleep or rack your car up so you end up in the hospital. These things are available straight away through meditation, just properly. I'm not sure what some people do when they meditate. I think they get a quieter mind and then they start to think in the quiet mind, but they're still in the mind. And he debunks that. Okay. Previous to his experience, the brain ran everything. And suddenly he realizes, wait a minute, his brain was totally shut off. And he's having all these experiences that were like mind-blowing. And the information that was there that he absorbed was mind-blowing. You said years and years of going to the university and studying and reading and all of that. It was nothing compared to how he was experiencing in those finer dimensions. There's an immense amount of absorption of knowledge and experience. Anyway, got lost. Somebody? You bumped into any dead relatives lately? Where are you? Let's see, nothing to add to it, but my backup crew here. Are you there? Okay. There he is. I think you mentioned last week your buddy died. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So his buddy died and he's feeling this urge to hook into him, dialogue with him, hang out with him. So he's playing with that. And that can be done. That's, I think, mentioned, if not in the book, in one of his lectures, where a loved one, whatever, is dying, and you could, at that point, go along with them in their experience. Again, that's just a dimensional. You go finer dimension, and you're not stuck to this world here, the hospital room. You settle open, and you're freer to travel along with them to help them out if you're smarter than they are. But anyway, to go along and experience what they're experiencing. Not unusual. Anyway, a lot of interesting stuff in the book and in his lectures. But I really like this realization of how limited the brain is, how wow it is. It's a hell of an instrument in the domain of a human being. It's a hell of an instrument. But the things that we want to do, other dimensional, can't be picked up by that level. He really expounds on that. Okay. Can I say it better? He says things fairly well. Can I say it better? To let me think about other dimensions. Let me think about a reincarnation. Let me think about that. Forget about it. Forget about it. It's kind of bullshit. Okay. To move through the dimensional walls, big potential interference, the dimensional walls, to move out of the brain control experience at that level. Let's say everyone's normally a 2x2 or a 3x3 or whatever. They're sort of locked in a bit to that level. There are dimensional walls, but they're pretty easy to pass through once you sort of catch how they work. Okay, they're really paper thin is how I used to present it. They may look like brick walls and oh my God, I can't pass through, but they're really, and you're passing through. It's no big deal when you realize kind of like how thin they are. It's no big deal. After a while, you get faster at it. You might feel the bump of crossing over, but it's not a wall that stops you for forever for some people, or for a week. And eventually you adjust to it and you're able to pass through. You begin to realize how thin they are. So you may still notice them, but in no way are they blockages. Almost like road signs. You're now entering Arkansas. Now you're entering West Virginia. They're road signs. They're not meant to stop you. Okay. But some people get stopped. They really get locked into their 2x2 world, or their 3x3 world, or their 4x4 world. They really get stopped and locked in. It's unfortunate. It doesn't have to be so. Okay. Some, because of the tightness of things, that one by one can't take that anymore, and they do something to move into a 2x2. Okay. Others move into a 4x4 and they're pretty good. They're top guy in their neighborhood, whatever. Okay. They're special. Okay. They're very known, and there can become their blockage. It's like, whoa, I don't want to go any further here. I've got it all. Okay. So a lot of people who develop get stopped by the specialness of their development. I could name names, but I won't go there. Not your name, but some other names that you would recognize. That mean anything? Did I follow an intelligent pattern there yet? Help.
Sensei, this is Lauren.
Yes.
And, I've had a personal experience of, let's say, being a 3x3 person suddenly thrust into 4x4 situation and feeling out of my depth.
Hmm.
And
good phrasing, by the way, out of my depth. If you don't know how to downtime and know what depth and roots are and have some experience there, you are out of your depth.
well, I was at this moment out of my depth. And, and so it leads to it. It's a sense of panic, at least in my case at that time. And I wonder if, as we think about crossing over, that fear of being out of your depth, of being, is what gives us I don't want to say a natural fear, but a common fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think let's see. Justin brought up very good point. What practices that we use normally, or should be using normally, sort of our basics, would help one in this crossing over process. And it's like any and all, okay? Don't panic, okay? Easy. Let things unfold. Don't be in a rush. Let things unfold, okay? Let things unfold. It will clarify. Has to clarify. It will unfold. Just easy. I still like that word, easy, easy, easy. Let things unfold. If it's dark, which will show along the way, cool, take advantage of it. Downtime. Downtime in the dark. And at a certain level, there'll be some, the light world will be there. So the dark downtime to the light world that will show at a better dimensional level, better vibrational level, however you want to say it. Boom. And in his pattern, he says, I'll find a page after a bit and read it, but he caught on a bit to that pattern where it was dark. His first one he calls underworld. He's in his first heavy downtime. It's really thick, okay? And he's not really aware of himself as a self, but he's aware he's in this dark thickness. And after a while, in the dark thickness, he started to panic a little bit. I want out of here. And as soon as he said, I want out of here, then it suddenly, boom, into the light world. And whoa, the light world was beautiful, really gorgeous colors and whatever. Really nice. As he continues through his experience for that, he had a 7-day experience, I believe. He caught on to the pattern there, it seemed like, where he went downtime and then, boom, the next level of light world showed. So it was even better, okay? He noticed if he had any questions on something, he sort of would go down with the question and boom, the answer would be there, experientially answered, okay? Not words you hear and you got to figure out, you sort of are soaking in that knowledge. It permeates you kind of thing, okay? I always, in my experiences, if I bumped into another soul, another self, you don't sort of stand 10 feet away and say, how you doing? What have you been doing? You sort of, it's like you're passing through each other. And in that shared experience, I know everything they've been experiencing and they know everything I've been experiencing. It's like an exchange of shared experience, something like that. Anyway, so tricks that we should be used to. I think the basic is the downtime. Easy. Susan and I were tracking a guy, a patient of hers who died. She really liked this guy. She wanted to track him, see how he was doing. And we picked him up, his relation with the dark. And he was okay with this big dark that he was in. And the sense we got from him, his experience in the dark was almost like, my feeling was like a parachute softly floating downward through this dark. And he was really kind of okay with it. And then he finally got to his level of light. And it was a beautiful dimensional level, really. I don't know how to express these. Very bright and, wow, it's really nice. So this not panicking in the dark, it's okay. Okay. And then the doctor said that in his continuing experience, it was like being at first a child in that dark, icky. But as he hit it again and then experiencing better light world and then hitting it again, that it wasn't scary anymore. There's a lot of nice things to it. Okay. nice things in the dark, right? So the going dark downtime is a good trick. Okay, good trick. So if that happens to you, easy, it's okay. Okay. The better, longer, deeper. The better, longer, deeper into these kind of experiences, the better level of light you can experience. Okay. Now, if you're afraid and you cross over and there's a lot of dark shows and you're, quite likely, in my terminology, we call it, go back in line. It's like an airport line, and you stand in line to, as soon as you get an open seat, jump into being a person again, reincarnate, but real fast, or as fast as the line will allow you. But no interim time to hit a better zone, have a sense of how you lived and how you should live in your next life and square away better. So that in your next life, if you choose to do that, you don't have to. If you choose to come back again, by taking the time to square away, develop, experience in a finer level, then when you come back, you're coming in as a better soul. Therefore, your character will probably function better and do better things. Did I almost say that okay? I don't know. I get lost here in my words.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So don't panic. Easy. It will unfold. The doctor had somebody who came and helped him. This beautiful, beautiful girl. And I think she first showed like kind of a glowing white, and then she showed herself as a person. And she became his guide. Okay. So she would help him to bing, and kind of point things out for him, help him with his basic tricks of the trade. So he had a beautiful guide, companion. Probably gave her anyway, something like that. So there are different jobs. So if you're really kind of lost and you say, help, I need some help here, and easy, something should happen to help guide you. Okay. When my mother, after some years, I don't remember the time, I don't do time, but she died, and a long time later, she came to me. That already surprised me. It's not like my mom to do something like that, very independent type anyway. And she said, I'd like to move on here, and I can't seem to. I think about moving on, but it doesn't work. And so I introduced her to the active under half, what we call the body here, the experience of that part. So it's not just the idea, it's the experience. And I introduced that to her. Get this 2-beat, let's call it, at that level, get this 2-beat. And then as you're more balanced with both of those, the ha and the hey, then you can pass through. And I haven't heard from her since. Okay, so in that case, I was a helpful guide. Okay, and I had a couple of experiences like that where people would say, help me, I'm a bit lost. But if you're stuck and you settle in easy, you can ask for help. Or some people, that's their beings, that's their job. Okay, so they're receivers. Then there'll be other people whose job is to help you. He likes the example because he liked jumping out of planes as a hobby. I guess he wasn't a paratrooper, I don't think. No, he was a pilot or whatever he was. Anyways, but he had this sense in some of his experiences where it was like jumping out of a plane. I thought, well, that's cool. We used to think of reincarnating as jumping into, probably now we'd say, the vortex of creation, into being a human level. Okay, so that sense of jumping is kind of cool. Anyway, blah blah. Again, am I getting lost here on this stuff? Help! 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 So easy. Don't panic. Take your time. Ride the ride. Things will unfold. You need some help, say, hey, somebody help me here. Somebody clarify this. Okay. I used to do that in my meditations. If I reached a dimensional barrier, okay, and I would like to continue on, but I couldn't seem to get through it. One trick, I asked for somebody who had gone through this level, who was a semi-pro at passing through that dimensional wall, so to speak. And something I don't remember, it's been a lot of years, but somebody would kind of show their process. I don't know, maybe they would show a deeper easy, be deeply easy, and then they easily just pass through. Oh, thank you. I'll be a little deeper easy, and then I would pass through. So there's all kinds of help. Just don't run amok. Easy, settle, let it unfold. It's beautiful the way it's laid out. A couple of tricks to learn, but nothing much. A couple of tricks. Dimensional walls aren't meant to lock you in, but they could look like it to some people. Okay. Dark is bad. No. It's the hidden part of the nutrients of the underworld. Okay. It's a very important piece. I don't know even what he's done. I don't want to put him down because he's a cool guy. But I don't know if he brought that out clear enough. The fuller of the experience. See, a lot of people think they can see it and they're aware of it and all. And they say, I'm having an experience. I'm talking about a fuller experience, fuller, including that whole underworld as part of the experience. Okay. So in a certain way, if you use the dark and then move back up into the upper light world, after a while, I would like you to catch on that you use the dark and then you move into a finer dimension there, and then you include the underworld at a finer dimension, which will include the upper awareness naturally. Okay. I have you do it with one of our simple practices. Let me see. When we stand, I say, okay, we're moving from a 1 by 1 to a 2 by 2 to a 3 by 3. Okay, ease in. Now we're starting to some activities going on in a 3 by 3. Easy. And then you start to catch, there's a center here, or there's a walls or a circle. Okay, sense of energy moving around, something moving, something being there. Okay. And now the character starts to form. Now, what I always have said to you people is, as the character begins to form, don't think about who you are. It's too soon. Feel who you are. That's a body, for like the word, at that level, body. Feel yourself and feel yourself more fully. And as you feel yourself, you'll be aware more. Your philosophy of life will be there. Your take on things will be there. So that will be included. But I always urge people to have the experience at the lesser level, using the body, for example, the experience of that before you go too quickly mental. Okay, I didn't want you to become a major in awareness and zilch with the truer of this underworld. The truer of the underworld is, he mentions it, let me see. That was in the first part, what page? Hang on a second. 29. Yeah, should be 29. Hello? Okay, this is his first experience. Boom, this thick, dark under. Okay, and as he hangs out there, he said he didn't have any words at that time, but in retrospect, he would have called it primordial. Okay, so remember, he's in a first heavy level, the first approach to under, primordial. Bing, that rang. Oh, I thought that's cute because I remember my early practices of going dark. For a while, it was happened really early. I wasn't sure how things worked there yet. I was like going backwards. I was going to become a caveman, and even something before that, primordial. So for a moment, I worried about that for a bit. Holy shit, because I had come from an upper meditation style. Beautiful, the angelic choirs, beautiful. Suddenly I'm researching, what the hell is this underworld? Okay. And when it started to go a primordial flavor, it was like, whoa, in a certain way, that can't be right. But again, I'm a researcher, so I hung in there and it worked itself out. That's just the heavier dimension of it. If you were to go finer dimensions, it will explain itself, which is what happened to him. So his second or succeeding go-arounds with the under got nicer and nicer and nicer, of course. But there's a little bit more there. Anyway, so primordial. This is cute. Another thing that happened to him in this first sense of dark that he bumped into, it said even smelled like feces. Okay, smelled like shit. Got it? Well, that's not news to you, folks. What is what's the first example I might use to you? It's manure. As we go dimensional, finer, soon it's fertilizer. A little bit different than manure. And certainly a little bit better. And so, all right, we go finer, then you get something like, oh, this is life-giving. You go finer dimensionally. Nutrients. Okay. So here he's bumping into the heavy, the sort of the ugliness of the dark under. He mentioned snakes a certain way or some kind of weird things.
Sensei, he calls it a worm's eye view.
Yeah. Yeah. So he knew when he was down, he had a sense of things. He called that a worm's eye view. Yeah. But he did bump into all kinds of scary things at first. But again, you folks know dimensionality. The chance of you bumping into such a thick dark are very slim, very slim. Remember, this is in a certain way, his first time. Okay, they're really showing him the heaviest level. As he starts to catch the beats of dark to light and light back to dark, the trade into more, and then the experience light world boom bada of more. He doesn't have that fear anymore. Yeah. Here, the movement around me became less visual and more tactile, as if reptilian, worm-like creatures were crawling past, occasionally rubbing up against me. Hello? That's the snake story. Hello? Okay. When I first was my early time in playing with under, sitting down and suddenly snakes. The hell? I'm in a meditation. What are snakes doing here? Biting me. Jesus. I hang in there because I'm sitting for a meditation here. Okay. I'm a researcher, so I sit with it. Easy. Now let them bite. And they did. got even a little bit worse. It was a snake pit. Oh, God. Shakes of Gunga Din, if you remember that movie. Anyway, that's an old one. Before your time. And as I begin to easy and dimensionally go finer, easy, what the hell is this really? Easy. Then the snakes became spiraling energies. Oh. And before that, they started to smile at me. Oh. Then they became spiraling energies, and they came from a beautiful source. That's dimension and finer and finer. So he doesn't know that trick at first. So he just hits the murky, 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 murky. Every level is still the heavy level. But you won't be affected by that, because easy, settle, open with the natural. What's the finer of this? Okay. All right. If you in your own head hear something negative, like you're talking to yourself and you say, I don't know, you're stupid. Oh, I play a game. Oh, that's what I heard at whatever level I'm at, that I'm stupid. Okay. Now, I don't hang out here forever. Well, am I really stupid? How stupid am I? Should I go back to school? Whatever. I don't hang out there. I register. I heard I'm stupid. I might register a quick moment of feeling that. But then my game is say what? Meaning, okay, easy, a finer dimension. Now, what does it say? In that case, I'm on a lineage. And Nadeau, your stupid lineage. And I backtrack it. Easy. Say what? Meaning, inferring at a finer dimension. What are you saying? And it may say something, I don't know, like, well, sometimes some of your decisions are wrong or something. Okay. Oh, okay. And I continue. Easy. Finer. Say what at a finer level? What's that same line saying? Okay. And it gets better and better and better. So you take the heavy and you learn the trick of backtracking with it. Okay. So little tricks like that should be natural for you. And hopefully you play with some of these things. Hopefully. That any of those will hold you in good stead as you cross over. Okay. And by the very nature of the beast, by the nature of your basic, you're not one by one people, not that we don't end up there now and then potentially, but your normal level is not 2 by 2. Your normal level is 3 by 3 and plus, plus, plus. And some of you have meditated and experienced through the meditation finer and finer of yourself. Okay. So you won't run into heavy, bad stuff. Okay. But if it looks like it, be easy. Let it clarify. Easy, easy. Let it unfold. Easy, easy. Okay. You're moving into finer dimensions. It can't go wrong. It's that's, 1 by 1, things are a bit tight. 2 by 2, a little bit more breathing room. 3 by, I can start to move and kind of move nice. 4 by 4, holy shit. I should have been a ballet star. And my thought patterns are so much clearer. And things that used to puzzle me are suddenly very clear to me. Oh, that's the law. That's the law. Okay. So you don't have to get locked in at any level. You can choose to move on. All right. Remember in Florida Diana's story of tracking her grandmother, and her grandmother was ready to stop at a certain dimensional level because it was nice. But her grandfather, who had died previously, was helping her out. And he said, no, honey, keep moving. So instead of her stopping at this first time, oh, this is nice. He said, no, we can move on. Another level. She says, oh, this is really nice. Okay. And he said, no, honey, let's move on. Okay. So he knew she could do better, and he wanted probably some companionship. Probably had real caring for her. And he wanted her to go to a better level where they could both hang out, would be my guess. Couples do that now and then. They want to continue hanging out, kindred souls or something. Anyway, so that was a good story, Diana. But you individually have to have the desire to move on to finer, and have within your system, your sense of things, knowing, even when you cross over, that you can move on finer and finer. Okay? You don't have to immediately go back in line to be another human being again. No, take advantage of this time. If you do want to come back, fine, but take advantage of the in-between time in a finer dimension to continue to develop. So that if you do decide to come in again, you're coming in much better. Much better. Okay. So I keep telling you the story about Nicky, most of you know him, but loved the acting, wanted to really be a great actor and didn't make it this life, worked hard, but didn't make it. When he passed on, I was happily tracking him a little bit, and he would just develop and develop and develop. Because he wants to come back on for being a great actor. So all things considered, he's correcting some of whatever he has to correct about himself. He's probably choosing better parents. He'll either be born in London or Hollywood. He'll choose more careful, and he'll present himself better. Because he's developed how things work a bit better. He took advantage of that. It's a shame if you don't take advantage of let's call it an astral plane, a better dimensional level, and improve, that you come back too fast. And that's, okay, whatever. But too bad, you could have come back again. At a better level. Sometimes I think I understood when I was interested a little bit in reincarnation stuff, that if somebody died unexpectedly young, let's say wartime, where a lot of guys are getting killed and sort of wasn't their time, but that's where the bomb landed, got a little pissed off about being taken out of life, and they really wanted to come back fast. But some of them, in coming back fast, didn't choose their next life location, parents, whatever, as properly as they could have. So they jumped too fast and didn't take advantage, and quite likely made it worse for themselves a certain way. I mean, it'll work out in the long run. All comes out in the wash of the great creation. But what a shame. What a shame. Just be easy. Take advantage. Easy. Don't panic. Continue to improve. Self itself can improve. You see, self, we shouldn't think of self as, because I can say that word, I'm suddenly this original God self. No. It's dimensional. Okay. You can get faster at that and catch on. You can get very fast with it. There's OSensei was fast. All right. So you have to play a bit with that to get the flavor of how things work. Eventually, he caught on to some very fast, zoom, boom, very original, pure soul, pure presence, whatever word you want to use. Boom. And that would be there. So when we saw all this wild stuff going on that was mathematically impossible or unbelievable, that came from this inner, finer being there supporting the world he's in. Okay. So I always laughed at people thinking, well, if I keep practicing, one day I'll be as good as OSensei. Not in doing that. It's this inner work that he did. Okay. Back in the day, I was always amused, even in my early years in Tokyo, seeing guys thinking, well, Sensei's got 50 years, and if I practice for 50 years, I could be as good or close to Sensei. And I would just laugh. I just thought, ain't gonna happen, you know. Sensei caught on to this major movement. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's kind of dark for me in here. Let's screw it up.
The sun went going down a little bit faster.
Huh?
The sun is going down a little bit faster. Maybe.
Okay. Again, this is early stage in the first oppressive dark, and he wanted out of there. Kind of like he sort of had a sense of where should I go, and Bing instantly started to head towards the light world. Okay, the better dark you can do, the better dimensional level it will bring you to, or you can experience that level world. Okay. If you're smart, you'll eventually, your call here, trade that one in, go dark again, under, deep, and that will bring you to an even better dimensional world. So you can move along. Okay, I talked to Henry Kono. It's on the other side. Those of you who don't know Henry, buddy of mine in Tokyo, Canadian citizen, and he passed on. And he's got a little group on the astral plane. He's on the level dimension he's on. He's got a little group. He stands out a little bit special. So he drew a group. Likes to teach. And I said, Henry, how do you get your people, your group, to move on? Or how do they move on? Something like that. And he said, well, one problem is if they even think about it, there seems to be a little upsurge, like dark starts to be there. And they freak out. They don't know what to do with dark. Because they're in this beautiful humming vibrational level, da, da, da. And if they think about moving on, suddenly dark starts to show, and they don't know what the hell to do with it. Okay. So again, be comfortable with down dark. It's okay. Okay. Practice. It should be part of your basic meditation thing anyway. Down dark. Using that as a trick to get to a finer dimension that you can be present in your meditation space. You can use the same pattern. Downtime, easy. A couple of other forms, but that's a major. The dark one's a major. Okay, where are we?
Sensei, you mentioned at one time that when Henry showed up on the other side, it was as if he had a tan. He stood out in that way because of all the grounding and rooting work he'd done on this side.
Yeah, he had enough grounding where when he passed on, he retained the sense of that. So when he hit an astral plane that was comfortable for him, he was a little special. So I don't know if he brought it up or somebody brought it up, that it's like he's got a tan. So other people said, oh, who's that guy with the tan? He stood out a little bit. They knew he was a little bit past the norm. So he attracted a group. He's a group leader. Okay. So yeah. He mentions the importance of letting go of a level to get to another level. Hang on and find the page here, 79. See how he words it. 9. Okay. The penetration of the higher worlds to move into finer dimension. Myself, I don't like the sense higher worlds. I like the finer worlds that are here within this concentric circle, whatever. But I like to keep it more here and now. Okay. Anyway, so not to bitch at him, he's a cool guy, but so moving along into finer tends to be a gradual process and requires that the individual release his or her attachments to whatever level he or she is on before going higher or deeper. Dada, you can't get pregnant if you're pregnant. Nadeau language. You can't move into Robert if you're hanging on to Bobby. Bobby's got a whatever. Sit with Bobby, feel Bobby's whatever attitude, whatever, and a minute too, just to establish Bobby, and then trade him in. Downtime. Bobby sort of dies. Now Bobby's afraid of dying. I don't know, he'll fight. But there's little tricks you can use to, I don't know, maybe play, we'll just take a rest. And while you're resting, boom, going deeper, and there'll be a Robert there. But again, hard for Robert to be more fully present if Bobby is there. No, I should use another dumb story, which I can't remember, but like trying to bake a cake, but you got a cupcake inside the cake. It sort of interferes with the cake being a cake because of this obstruction. If Bobby is in the way, Robert can't really be there. And if you do a half of Bobby checking on Robert, it's a little screwy, a little screwy. A lot of things you're going to say and see are bullshit because it's Bobby's cake. And Bobby's limitations. So he's only going to be certain. But easy, Bobby. Easy. Trade him in. Boom. Robert. And Robert's got to trade in for Nadeau. Okay. One trap in finer and finer is you get so rich, famous, powerful, whatever. You're special. And you won't want to move along. You got it made. You won't want to move along. All right. So, and certainly at that level, those that do tend to be more special. There's not that many of them, let's say, because a lot of people will stop at success at that level. Okay. Did I say that? Okay. So these are things that you have to have a sense. Yourself should have a sense. And they'll carry on through tricks of the trade. If you just try to remember with your brain, as he says, bing, you won't be able to pull it off because the brain is going to die out there. That level of you. But self, what's he called self? He uses soul. No, I'm sorry. Consciousness, soul, spirit. Those are 3 words that he uses for that I call self. But in my use of the word self, I also get better self possible, truer self, more original self. So I have my words that I use to dot, dot, dot. He has his words to explain dot, dot, dot. So we're talking about the same stuff in the same arena. So it doesn't goddamn matter exactly what words he uses. It is what it is. Okay. It will experience it as it experiences. But words are important to the brain guy. Okay, as if I've got the word, I got it. No, you're in the brain guy. You're in a mental one by one. You ain't going nowhere, except maybe more expanse. You learn more words. I'll give you a dictionary. Shut up. Leave me alone. Where are you going with that? Okay. So if you want to move along dimensionally, you got to know not to get trapped in those levels. He says it very clearly in his lectures and book. Okay. And here's a guy who thought the brain was everything, everything. It ran everything. And suddenly he's going, oh my God, that's totally wrong. Okay. So it's fun hearing it from an intelligent expert on brains. So let go of. Yeah, if you're, say you pass over and you love your family or something, and you're concerned, you're very interested, and you're hanging. After a bit, it'll happen naturally, but you can't hang on to them. You can't hover around like this nice ghost, okay? And there should be a natural disengaging. The probably Bobby's memory involvement, or Roberts or Nadeau, whoever, his involvement with the family. Yes, yeah, I love them, but there should be something naturally happening to say, come on, let's move along. Come on, let's move along. Okay. So I don't know if it's really possible to hover over a loved one as your location permanently. Be real strange. Don't ask me about ghosts or famous ghosts in the English castle who've been there for 300 years. I don't know. I don't care. I'm telling about you. Okay. So there'll be that time of interest, if in fact you have interest, but that natural happening of, I got to move on. That should naturally happen. Okay. And there, if you bump into a deep dark, take advantage of it. Soak in it easy, no rush, easy. It'll reach a certain level. Bing, it'll open up to a light world. Okay. Now you've sort of got the trick. No matter where you are, if you downtime, you can reach a better level. Okay. I think he used to use it for questions as he was getting comfortable with everything, but he'd have a question. And I believe he said there was this boom, bang, and then a knowing of the answer, not just words coming at him again, but an experience of a blend with, like the answers would pass through him and it'd be an experience. So even with, how does that work? Boom. Oh, and how it works is starting to be present, showing how it works. So he would use a short forms, could we call it? Yeah, just with having a question. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. These days, he's pushing meditation, critical, and what he calls centering prayer. I'm not sure what he's doing with that, but I kind of like the word centering prayer. All right. So if I ever bump into something where he's talking about centering prayer, I would look at it. I would read it myself just to see how he's using that. He likes himself. He likes the harmonics, the vibration sound of things. That one touched him a lot. Okay. And again, yes, it's one of the majors, not the only one, but one of the majors. Okay. One of the majors. And he likes that. In fact, I think he's has a little using that as some kind of teaching model to help people get into the finer of themselves. He's using that model and presenting that model, I believe, is what I think I heard someplace. Okay. So. Meditate, dark to light. He says cute little things in there. The little voice in your head goes on. So but that's the little voice of the brain activity voice. But he's not talking about that voice when he talks about what I would call self. That's why I brought you from, remember one of the earlier maps that I laid out? What was it? The thinking brain, easy, feeling, easy, finer feeling, finer sense of feeling. Continuing finer and finer, I think we're about there. We brought in the word sensing. Sensing, okay. Now this is where the presence of self can begin to show a bit. Here's the beginning of self actually showing. And you begin to sense, okay. Now you have to be honest with that. You have to fun with it a little bit so you don't think, okay, I'm going to quiet my mind. Now I'm sensing. No, you're still in the bing bing mind. Don't bullshit me. Don't bullshit yourself. Okay. You can bullshit me. I'll walk away eventually. But don't bullshit yourself. That's too sad. Okay. So hang out with these things. Experience these things. Experience the different levels of these things. Basic meditation. I hate to even say that word because some people just quiet their mind a bit and think, and they call that meditation. Meditation is when the self can begin to activate, show its presence, deeper and finer dimensions of that. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I think it's a smart guy. I think he lays out stuff pretty good. If you have an interest, again, that's his ebenalexander.com. And I think he has everything, all the books that he suggests, and there's scads of them out there these days. And I think he can probably direct you to some of the lectures that he did that were taped and stuff. Nice to sometimes, instead of reading, as Samuel says, nice to watch the guy talk as opposed to reading. Where are we? One thing nice he said, heaven is all around us. Okay. And that's what I was saying before about, I sort of don't like this God's up there or finer levels up there. I would like y'all to get a sense of dimensional is finer here. Okay. Finer here. It's more here, finer. And the vastness is here. Okay. In finer dimensions, it's vast. The original space is vast. It's here. Here. Okay. Play with it if it interests you. Okay, it's your time. We got a few minutes if you want to hang out. If you don't, get off my screen. Anybody, anything? We're finished with passing over. I think we gave you a couple of clues and stuff. You're cool people, you'll deal with it when it happens. Just be cool, easy.
Sensei, you mentioned the pros, asking for guidance, help along your journey, and examples would come. And then another word you mentioned really resonated with me, during your class today about being comfortable and taking advantage of the in between for your development. And it reminded me of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, an early book on this process of being comfortable in the between spaces, between asleep and awake, and just sort of hanging out there as an analogy for the between. When we pass beyond this realm into another realm, we're passing from one dimension to another. There's a border between.
If that culture finds that their culture can dig that form, there's a little trick. That form, probably not my best shot. Okay. I would either go further past that, or I'd fall asleep. I get heavier or get finer. But for a culture that was presented, it was presented well. Yeah, it's a trick to give them a step one, or you got to go through a little kindergarten, grammar school, high school, Okay, so when I lay out simple things, don't dismiss them, because it's like we do a baby step or two. It was a 1 by 1 to a 2 by 2 to a 3 by 3, or bad day, fair day, good day, whatever. Yes, they may seem like baby steps, but you're stepping. And if you keep stepping, you're going to cover a mile. And if you keep stepping, you're going to cover 10 miles. Not that there's distance here. It's a metaphor. But don't sell the simple steps out. Talking to OSensei about his morning prayers. He said, well, sometimes you wake up in the manifest, of course, okay? Now he says, Nadeau, you've mapped that out quite well. So you wake up in a 2 by 2 or 3 by 3. And he says, of course. Then in his morning prayers, he would start down. That was one of his majors, not the only one, but one of them. He would do the downtime style to a finer. And I had the impression he did more than one level of that, downtime to finer, and the finer level of self that was there. We haven't gone over this. Anyway, so he had set that up so during the day, if he needed to function better, he could instantly or really quick go, hey, and this finer level of self would be there, underlying all the activity. Okay. Bob, did I say that okay?
Yes, Sensei.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, to be aware there are dimensions, each one having a membrane wall. Get used to the simplicity of moving through those. We've done that over 1 by 1. We take time. We take slow at first. Easy, settle, and da. Now we're moving into a 2 by 2, easy, da. But, and then a 3 by 3. Later, those are fast, but fast isn't a fast idea. Don't misunderstand. Oh yeah, da, I got it. No, you don't. That's the idea. That's not a sense of the speed. Okay. If I need an energy arm for some reason, okay, send a very simple, just an energy dimension. No big deal here. This is Bobby of the physical. Hey, okay, some amount of energy here. So it doesn't take a day and a half to move into the next dimension, even though that was a small step. But to start to catch, oh my, that's there. And then later you might want to move into faster, bigger, okay? I told you a story. In meditation, once I had an hour schedule, I would sit for an hour. Okay, that was my meditation, usually. Now I have other days where we're special, I did 3 hours or most of the day or something, in a weird time. Anyway, but my basic was an hour. And one day I had an important appointment I had to go to, so I only had a half an hour to sit. Ooh, only half an hour. But suddenly I got to the same, for lack of words, nice level that I was used to after an hour. And I got to it in a half an hour. And that caught my attention. What the hell? So I began to play with it. I'd say, okay, now you only got 20 minutes. And I did 15 minutes. I don't know if I got, whether I got down to 10 minutes, whatever. Lo and behold, I could get to that same better level in short periods of time. Okay. Meaning sometimes we can be a little bit slow and a little procrastinating and whatever. So again, not to misunderstand with an idea of, yes, there is better. Yes, I'm there. Careful. But that's why those first basic simples are important, because they give you the right sense, direction, flavor. Okay. All right. Brett?
Yeah.
Done. Push up. No, push up. Not from the back. This is an up-centered practice. Oh, yeah, there you go. Push. Go ahead. Come on. Thank you. Okay. Don't tank for me, guys. That's why I'm on this case. Don't tank for me. I need honesty here. Okay. Okay. Easy. A feeling of being more centered. Okay, let me try it at this level. A bit better, but it's going to break. But a bit better. I could feel it. He could feel it. Right? Easy. Next level. Deeper, rooted, centered deeper. Again, it's going to break, but it was better. So that just gives me a direction. It gives me some experience. So later when I do bigger, faster moves, for lack of words, I know the direction. I know a bit of the flavor of it. Okay? All right? And it's not meant to have somebody come in with a crane and see if they can lift you. It's just a kindergarten practice or a grammar school practice to make sure we're on the right track. Okay? That's all. Right? And if you get broken, don't get pissed off. Don't be dumb. It just means you probably shifted to an idea about being centered, and that's not it. It's experience of center. And we're just trying to clarify that. Because if you begin to think your idea of center and you get pissed over and you get pissed at me, I've had that happen. How dumb can you be? How sad that is. I'm not pushing you over to make you look bad. We're saying, well, where'd you go? Did you go to someplace else? Because we need you here in this manner. It's all we're trying to do. Huh? Why are you trying to fake it with your belief? Or I read a book about centering, therefore it should work because I read. Go, whatever. I'm finishing up. Anything amuse me with great insights. Help.
Sensei Bob here. You mentioned the centering prayer. That's a system developed by an abbot from the Trappist monastery. His name's Father Thomas Keating.
Could you say the first words? Bob, I missed the first words of what?
He was an abbot.
No. What's the style? What we're talking about?
Centering prayer.
Oh, silent prayer.
Centered
prayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a
centered prayer?
Yes.
Eben Alexander mentored centering prayer. The centering prayer that you said that Eben Alexander talked about.
Is that what you're talking about, Bob, or did you change?
Yes. No, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, so he developed this system over a period of time. He's a very ecumenical guy. He used to have a Zen master come to their Trappist monastery, which was in Massachusetts, to teach them how to do Zen and stuff. This is a very interesting man. Anyway, he developed this system of centering prayer.
Okay. And I don't know if that's the same thing that or if he came up with the word. I don't know. So just to be. Just to be careful of saying, he's doing exactly the same thing. I don't know how he's using that. I don't know what he's doing with that. So maybe yes, maybe no. So whatever. We'll see. We'll see. Thank you. Autumn. I saw Autumn. Autumn, you show me your face again. Autumn.
Hi, Sensei.
I know you're there. I saw you.
I'm here.
There you are. Okay. I had to find you on my bunch of pictures there. I want to get into your stuff one day. Easy settle, inner self. As the self aligns better here, self is not an idea floating up there as we really want it here. As self is more properly positioned here, the radiations, for lack of word, from the self can radiate through the body to your world and have a nice effect on things. Okay, I mentioned this to you before. I'm just reminding you, okay, that yourself has a real interest in the acting stuff, right? So take advantage, sit with it, make sure it's aligning better. So it's not just an idea. It's not just a voice floating around, sort of bitching at you, be an actress. What are you doing? Kind of thing. Let it position, very important, let it position. So the power of it, the aliveness of it, make up a word, the glow of it can really radiate through the body. That's the work me and Susan are doing with medical patients, double checking their selves to see if we can get their selves to position better, to get a healing effect through all the layers of the body, to get proper healing. In this case, that radiation in your case will produce a better physical character, and it even goes out a little further. It improves the world you're in, so things will begin to click better. So it takes care of the center in the circle of things, or the character in her world of things. There'll be the actress in the world of acting, whatever. So I'm just reminding you. I like your case. I find that interesting. I'll check back with you another time.
Thank you, Sensei.
Let's see. I see one of those funny guys from New Zealand. Is Mike going to say anything before we leave?
That's very interesting that you picked on me. Yes, because I was hovering around. I'm sure you know the name Carlos Castaneda. Is it?
Talk to Jack Wada. I'm not a.
No, his books originally when I was, at the very beginning of this journey and just my very early 20s really rocked my world. But just in the last couple of weeks, because I'd run out of anything else to read, and this book was kind of just sitting there looking at me, I picked up a more recent book of his. And it's just amazing how much of what this particular book is talking about at this particular time aligns with what you're talking about.
That's why the book was looking at you.
I know. And similarly, I had obtained from another guy a whole series of audio recordings of Terry Dobson and his stuff and talking about OSensei. And it is just, the synchronicity is amazing because I kind of need that help at the moment. It's just amazing how the stuff is available to you if you notice that it's there when you need it.
Yeah. I used to use that in Tokyo. I'd walk into there. We had an English bookstore down in Ginza, I believe. And if I had a question about something that didn't feel appropriate to bounce off of OSensei, I would walk into this bookstore, walk around, let my hand pick up a book. I wouldn't even sometimes look at the book. I would just pick it up and buy it. I'd go home and skim it. Bing, there it was. Whatever my question was, there it was. Clear as hell. So that was a practice game for me.
Yeah.
So you said the book was looking at you, and I should walk through and wait for it to jump in my hand, so to speak. It's fun.
Oh,
Fun.
oh, it is, yes, and it's well a great feeling of gratitude actually that that happens because yeah, it's important to take it. Well, not to take it. It's important to be open to receiving help when you need help, basically.
Yeah, I have to practice with that because my normal state, I don't allow things, allow compliments, allow being tipped, allow. I was a little tight on that. I'm getting better at it now. I'm trying to be more open to that as part of being open to the circle of things. But anyway, blah, different discussion. Hey, people, time to go, huh?
Thank you so much, Sensei. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mike Cashwell, for being the last one to speak.